All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Panther Nation podcast. I'm your host, Rashad, and my co-host is David. And this episode, we're going to be talking to YoungAriGold from Texans Unfiltered, excuse me. So, Young Ari, how's it going, bro? You guys are coming off.
Good.
You guys are coming off a nice little W against the Chargers. How you feeling? How's everything going, man? Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Young Ari Gold. You can follow me on Twitter at I am Young Ari Gold, just like the entourage Ari Gold. Just add Young to it. I'm good, man. It was a great week. Lots of good things happening in Houston for the Texans right now. So yeah, no, we're excited. I think we're riding a high. I think that team on Sunday is what we expected to see when the season started. So we feel pretty good right now.
Nice, nice. So yeah, we too are feeling kind of a lot better. Although there's some weird circumstances going on with Cam Newton's health. We've got the news yesterday that he has a Liz Frank injury, going to be out a couple weeks. We already knew that. We kind of knew what was going on, and we've been advocates. Just a little background: we've been advocates of sitting Cam for the year, give him the Andrew Luck treatment, let him get healthy, come back next year. It's just a lot going on with him right now. So I'm actually happy to see him sit and getting healthy. So we're okay with that. We're not boohoo crying about it. Obviously, Kyle Allen came back last week and had an amazing game. Probably the best game he's probably ever going to play. If he plays any better than that, we might have a QB controversy on our hands. But he played.
Well, real quick,
I'm gonna give you a crazy stat about that game that Kyle Allen had that we didn't even talk about on the podcast yesterday.
Go ahead, Dave.
His performance was the second highest quarterback rating in Panthers history.
Yeah, it's crazy
for any starting quarterback.
Here's the thing, though, and not to like drop a nugget or anything like that. And I know this is a Panthers podcast, so it's about you guys, but he shares the same quarterback consultant, off-season coach as Deshaun Watson. So Jordan Palmer was his quarterback consultant, and he trained him for the draft. Also, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen. We talked to Jordan a lot. He's a friend of mine, and we had him on the podcast the year after Deshaun was drafted, when Deshaun tore his ACL and was out for the season.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked to him about Kyle Allen, Josh Allen, and Sam Darnold. And Jordan Palmer, without hesitation, said that Kyle Allen was the best quarterback out of the three, and that he would not be surprised if he ends up having a ton of success in the league. And he was actually at the game on Sunday.
Wow, that's impressive. I did not know that. So that's a very great nugget that you dropped us. I appreciate that. But so just to continue the Kyle Allen, love fest here. Like I was a proponent of Kyle Allen, and I thought he was going to play well. I actually tweeted before the game that I thought he was going to play well, and I was like, don't be surprised the dude comes out and balls. He's been in the system for a couple years now. He knows what's going on. He played well against the Saints last year, albeit week 17 against them, against lesser, the Saints sat their ones or a couple of their ones. Some of their starters did play on defense, so he did, he got a decent win, and then he followed that up with a win, a very good win with against Arizona. So hopefully we're looking forward to him playing well again. Hopefully he's not too too caught up in the moment, and he's relaxed. He looks relaxed. He played relaxed. And hopefully he can follow up that effort with another solid showing. Now, if he does, I don't expect him to replicate what he did in Arizona, but if he can just, manage the game, be a solid game manager, I think we'll be fine. But getting back to the Texans, all right. So, you guys, you got Laramie Tunsil. There's some questions about the offensive line. I did listen to your last episode, and you guys are starting to feel a little bit comfortable about the offensive line. How do you feel about the offensive line moving forward? I know there was a couple changes, movement around, some position changes. Talk about those and tell us how you feel.
Yeah, so with the Texans obviously coming into the season, given that Deshaun had 62 sacks last year, I think he was also hit like 80-something times. Obviously, the most important thing, and you guys know that where you guys are at with Cam, is protecting the quarterback.
Facts.
Now, coming into the season, we had questions on how the line would look, and we obviously invested a lot in the offensive line. We traded 2 first-round picks for Laramie Tunsil. Everybody can go ahead and either, are we allowed to cuss on here? No?
Just go ahead, man. Have at it.
What you want to do, man?
Okay. Everybody can shit on the trade all they want, but at the end of the day, when your team has a need, and it's one of the positions that's very hard to address. You have to give up what you have to give up to protect your franchise in the future, and I feel like they made the right decision by doing that, by trading for Laramie Tunsil. Then we also invested a first-round pick in Titus Howard, and then a second-round pick in Max Sharping. Both tackles, both from small schools. A lot of the draft nicks weren't high on Titus Howard or Max Sharping. Everybody thought Andre Dillard was the best tackle available, and blah, blah, blah. Come into this game, this is the third offensive line that we've seen in 3 weeks. Titus Howard has played left guard for us, has not played any right tackle for us, and Max Sharping has only played in spots. Coming into this week, we went with Laramie Tunsil, Max Sharping at left guard, Nick Martin at center, Zach Fulton at right guard, and Titus Howard at right tackle. And it was by far the best performance that we've seen since we traded Twain Brown 3 years ago. The Chargers pass rush is a really good pass rush.
Mm-hmm.
I said it on the podcast that it's very similar to what you guys have in Carolina. The only difference is you guys have Kawan Short. They do not. So I think that the line is in a good spot. It's going to take time for them to gel. And if it continues, I think we're going to be in a really good spot. But right now I feel very confident, barring injury, that we can protect Deshaun, which is the number one most important thing that we can do.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I just want to jump in on something you said about trading. We pitched a fit, or some of us, not we, but some of our fan base pitched a fit for us trading up to get Greg Little, and we didn't give up 2 first rounders. So I'm in agreement. You got to do what you got to do to get your guy, to protect your quarterback, and it's just funny because our fan base, a lot of people were pissed that we traded.
Well, here's the difference though. Like Greg Little. I liked Greg Little coming out. I think he has the potential to be pretty good. So you trade up and get your guy, but at the end of the day, the draft is a crapshoot, no matter what.
For sure.
You can have
1,000%.
Everybody can tell you that it's the best player, available, and it end up being a bust. We've seen it over and over and over again. So trading for Laramie Tunsil, you're getting a known commodity at a position that you need. He's a top 5 tackle in the league. Those guys don't really come available very often. Right. And I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but Laramie Tunsil walked into Brian Flores' office and saw what the trade offer was on the whiteboard and told Brian Flores, I would trade me for that because it's just that good of a trade.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is, but, you have to protect them. And Cam has been through so much.
Oh, dude, you don't got to tell us,
I love the Panthers. My best friend is a Panthers fan. I've gone through all of this with him. The team has done an incredibly bad job at, 1, protecting him, and 2, surrounding him with weapons. And
dude, you don't gotta tell us.
It's unfortunate because he's a transformational franchise guy that's once in a lifetime type of talent, and we're seeing now what happens when you don't do that.
That's a fact. You hit it right on the head, and you don't gotta tell us, man. We are in agreement. But we're at this point now, and so it kind of is what it is. Sucks, and you hit the nail right on the head. But it's really weird in comparing these 2 teams. I think we're very, very similar. I think you mentioned as well, we've got a sort of unproven offensive line in that we're kind of figuring out what we're doing at left tackle. We got Darrell Williams playing left tackle. However, he was splitting snaps with Greg Little. Greg Little was his first game active was on this past Sunday. So we're kind of getting him in, and I'm very interested to see what happens when J.J. Watt comes in and gives one of them the work. I'm trying to see how they handle that because I think this is one of the biggest tests they'll have. Albeit, the Bucks gave us a little bit of the business, and Shaquille Barrett. So we'll see what happens there. I'm very interested to see what goes on and how we adjust there. But I think we're very similar in that our defensive line is going to give you guys a little bit of trouble with the speed. I don't think the Chargers quite have the speed that we have off the edge. And I don't think they have the interior guys we have. I'll go out on a limb and say our defensive line is a little bit better than Chargers. But I agree we're very similar. But it's going to be interesting. I think that's going to be a very interesting matchup. Our defensive line versus your offensive line and vice versa. So other than that, another interesting matchup: James Bradbury versus DeAndre Hopkins.
Fantasy leagues are hurting.
Yeah, so we have a young cornerback in James Bradbury that is on a contract year. He's playing well, but I don't think he's been up against this type of guy. We play Julio twice a year. He plays Michael Thomas, but in my opinion, I think D-Hop is the best receiver in the game. What are your thoughts on the matchup? How's D-Hop doing? And not only that, just talk about the other receivers as well.
Yeah, so I think this year what we're starting to see is that the offense for Houston is evolving. In the last 2 years, really, it's been the DeAndre Hopkins show. Deshaun has relied on DeAndre to be able to get the ball out and have a go-to receiver. The part that people are missing is just the fact that not only did we get Laramie Tunsil, but we also got Kenny Stills, who I think is averaging 17.8 yards per reception. We have a lot of receivers. We have a lot of receivers. And right now, if you just look at DeAndre's stats, you can see that the ball doesn't have to go to DeAndre anymore. With Kenny Stills, Will Fuller, last week it was our tight ends. There's a ton of options. Duke Johnson out of the backfield. So while, yes, you are 100% correct, DeAndre Hopkins is by far the best wide receiver in the league. And if this ends up being a DeAndre Hopkins type of game, I like James Bradbury. I think he's a solid corner. I remember when you guys drafted him, my buddy was all over James Bradbury. I want to say was it the year after Josh Norman or the year?
Yeah, it was the year. It was the year after.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And he came in and had a stellar rookie year. But with that being said, like, if Jalen Ramsey can't shut down DeAndre Hopkins,
yeah, right.
Unfortunately, James Bradbury is not going to be able to shut down DeAndre Hopkins.
I agree. I agree.
It's just not the way it works. And all you can do is hope to keep everything in front of him and just kind of let him get his balls and just kind of worry about the rest of the guys, because DeAndre is going to get his no matter what. Just he's that great of a wide receiver. And I'd be more worried about Will Fuller. I'm not sure about your safeties anymore. I know obviously you have Eric Reed, but outside of that, you guys are going to have to play a lot of cover two, and you're going to have a safety over top, because Will Fuller and Kenny Stills on those vertical passes are dangerous.
Yeah, and that's a concern, because we do have Trey Boston. He's our other safety, and they switch.
That's
both
right.
play.
He did come back.
Yeah, they play free and strong, so they alternate. So you kind of don't know who's doing what. That's kind of the Panthers thing here. But I will say we are susceptible to the deep pass. We got super lucky last week in that I think Christian Kirk beat Trey Boston deep, but he was able to break the pass up on the tackle. But that's something we've been susceptible to over the years, is getting beat deep. Now, I will say this. I will say our secondary has improved. We've got Dante Jackson. Go ahead, Dave.
The second best pass defense in the NFL right now.
Yeah, our secondary is pretty solid. I know it's early and it's not a lot to go off of, but I will say this is the first time in many years where we've had the same secondary in consecutive years. So we've always had constant movement in the secondary, other than Trey Boston coming in, and he's been in the system before, so he kind of knows what's going on. So we've had the same guys in the secondary, and I think the guys are comfortable, and they're starting to understand and gel back there. Now Dante is the ultimate gift and curse. We saw that last week where he had 2 picks against Arizona, but he also whiffed on a couple tackles and gave up a touchdown. So he can be beat, but he's super aggressive, and he's going to take some chances, and he's going to capitalize every now and then. But I'm confident in our secondary. I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup, our secondary versus your wide receivers, because I think it's closer than the experts think, personally. So
yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, because this will probably be the best secondary that we've played. I don't know. The Jags have a pretty good secondary, but it's going to be interesting just to kind of see how this works. This will be a good test for both teams, and I think both teams will come out of this game knowing exactly who and what their team is, because it's the perfect matchup to really understand where you guys are going and where we're going. You're right on the pass rush aspect. Like, that is the perfect complement to a secondary. So when you have what you guys have on the D line, it definitely helps the secondary. So if our line can protect, and our guys are open, then it's going to be it's going to be a hard day for you guys, in my opinion.
Yeah, and
I have a question for you, man, regarding your run game right now, because against the Chargers, it was kind of rough sledding for you guys.
Yep.
So what are you guys doing with regards to the run game? It looks like Carlos Hyde is doing the early down work and Duke's in there for the passing downs, but has there been talks of making any type of adjustments from the running game?
And can you expand on the C.J. Anderson thing? Because I think you guys brought in
Yeah,
C.J.
because
Anderson
I
today.
noticed you guys just signed C.J. Anderson as well. So
Yeah, I think with Carlos Hyde, I think it's more of a shock to anybody else in the league just how he's performing. We've been looking for a power back for the last 3 years since we drafted Deontay Foreman, and unfortunately he got hurt. Carlos Hyde, we've switched from a zone scheme to a power scheme, and Carlos Hyde really fits that really well. I think on Sunday against the Chargers, because we were down so early, we had to abandon the run to really get going. So I don't think it gave us a chance to really establish the run game. On top of that, you also add the changes to the offensive line where Titus was playing left guard next to Laramie Tunsil, and all of the runs were going to the left in the previous week. This week, that wasn't the case. You had 2 new guys starting in 2 new positions. So I don't know if it's a fair assessment to understand what to expect from the run game. But based on the first 2 weeks, the run game looks pretty solid, and Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson are a perfect 1-2 punch for what we need. C.J. Anderson coming in now, it's just another power back to be able to spell Carlos Hyde in the time of need. So, and you guys are familiar with C.J. Anderson.
Just
a
little bit.
Yeah,
A little
just
quick
a little
stint.
bit.
A little quick stint.
So I don't know. I want to say, yes, I feel comfortable with the run game, but obviously Sunday put a little bit of a damper on that. But I'd like to see what it looks like 2 weeks in a row with the same offensive line starting. I don't want to, pass judgment on just one performance from Sunday. I do think that Duke has been a great addition. I know Texans fans are extremely pissed off about how we're using him and how he's not getting the ball enough, and we traded a 3rd-round pick, blah, 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 blah. But, I mean, the part that people
fantasy owners are too.
And fantasy owners are extremely upset too. But I think what people aren't keeping in mind is just the fact that, 1, he was hurt most of the offseason. 2, we've added a ton of new pieces to the offense. And it's just going to take time. It's not something that happens overnight. This team has to gel, and they have to form their identity. And in the first 3 weeks, we've seen 3 different types of offense from this team. So it's a combination of the 3, and I think it's just them finding that sweet spot on what we're going to be as an offense on the identity side. So I wouldn't be surprised if we gushed you guys for 125 yards.
Yeah.
And then I also wouldn't be surprised if we had 40 yards rushing. It all depends.
Hey, I was just gonna say, like, we are a little bit susceptible to the run. We can be run on. It's one thing with switching to that little 3-4 hybrid. It's susceptible to the run, and even when we're running four-man fronts, we've been gashed. I mean, hell, what's the dude from the Bucks? Peyton Barber. He ran on us pretty well.
Destroyed us.
So, I mean, we can be run on. So that's something we got to tighten up. And I'm afraid if the run game gets going, I think we're going to be in trouble. I think we're going to be in trouble with the run game because I think that opens up the pass and it could get ugly. So
Yep.
if you guys run for 125 yards on us, the game's over. We're going to lose. We're going to lose that game every day. Every Sunday we lose that game. But I do want to go back. Because we just went up against Kyler Murray. And we sacked him 8 times. Okay, I mean, he's a rookie, young, but I just wanted to kind of make that correlation between the mobile quarterback, because not all the time is the sack on the offensive line. Okay, we've seen it a million times. Cam goes out, scrambles, try to extend a play. The offensive line cannot block that long. So sometimes the plays or the sacks come on the quarterback. Okay, so how do you anticipate that matching up? I think it's great that we're coming off that game because it's a similar style quarterback in the dink and dunk. I heard you guys mention it in your most recent podcast. You guys did the dink and dunk. We just went against that and we shut it. We adjusted in the second half and shut it down. Pretty much shut their offense completely down. So how do you think that's going to work out? Is Deshaun a willing runner? Is he wild? I've got to be honest. I haven't watched enough Deshaun over the years to kind of get the assessment.
Well, 1, you're missing out on great football and great quarterback play if you haven't watched Deshaun.
I've watched him, but not enough. I can't say I watched him every Sunday.
I've seen Deshaun. I know he's been running for his life a lot. That's for sure because of the line problems. But
even with that, though, if you just look at what Deshaun's accomplished in the last 2 seasons. People tend to forget, what he did his rookie year before he tore his ACL because of the whole Mahomes effect. Mahomes took the league by storm last year. But prior to that, Deshaun was on pace to smash every single rookie record that was ever even out there by your boy and by Andrew Luck. Unfortunately, he got his season cut short, and Baker Mayfield, who I can't stand. We can get into Baker and Cam a little bit later because I'd love to talk about how it's very funny that Baker can do the shit that he does and he doesn't get ridiculed, but yet
Oh,
Cam
okay. Yeah.
is always. Yeah, we'll get to
We
that. I
don't.
have a feeling we'll get to
Yeah.
that.
We don't have to,
Um,
but yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I got you. I got you.
Something tells me race plays
A little
a part
bit.
in
Just a
that, but
little
we'll
bit.
get to that. So I think with Deshaun, a lot of times people will label him as a running quarterback, and really, if you actually watch the film or watch him play, he always keeps his eyes downfield and he's always looking to extend the play and make the pass. If he has to tuck it and run, he can. But the part that people tend to leave off of his game is just the fact that he's extremely slippery. So while he's extending the play, he's not running out of the pocket. It's usually in the pocket that he's extending the play and making people miss. And then you get a 76-yard TD to your tight end, Jordan Akins, like we did on Sunday.
Yeah.
He's very Russell Wilson-esque in the sense of like how he can escape and make people miss tackles.
Yeah.
But the difference between him and like Cam and Kyler Murray is just the fact that his eyes are always downfield and he's always looking to make the play. So,
Yeah, I mean, I will say though, Kyler was looking downfield early in the game. He took off and ran, but come the second half, I mean, he was seeing ghosts. And he's a rookie, obviously, but he was seeing ghosts. I mean, we hit him a lot in the second half.
yeah,
So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that pans out.
I agree.
I think he's going to get hit a lot. I'm just going to be honest with you. I know he already gets hit. Deshaun gets hit a lot, but I think that we have incredible speed. I mean, dude, like Brian Burns runs a legit 4.4. Like we have a ton of
I
speed.
know.
So like he's gonna get hit. Like he's gonna get punished. I'm
I
just
don't like the way
warning
you're
you.
saying that.
I'm just saying he is. He's gonna get punished, man.
No, you sound too excited when you talk
freak
about
No,
show.
cause
Burrow.
dude,
Yeah,
I'm a Florida
please,
State.
please.
I'm a
I don't
recovering
need you to
Florida.
celebrate my guy getting hit like
I'm
that.
a recovering Florida State fan. It just excites me that Brian Burns is actually panning out and he's looking great. In contention for defense rookie of the year, I'll say. But he looks great. He looks great so
Yep,
far.
yep.
But I don't know, man. So another thing, and again, these teams are very similar. When I was listening to you guys' podcast, the last episode, I was like, damn, this is just like the Panthers. So can you talk about the slow starts? Because we also get off to slow starts and talk about like the halftime adjustments and the lack thereof. Can you expound on that?
Yeah, yeah. So I think I don't know what it is that causes the slow starts. Even at times, Deshaun is the reason for the slow starts. Bill O'Brien in the last 4 years has just, or 5 years now, geez, has just he's always started the season slow and then he's always started the first quarter slow. It's just we never really we're never driving on the first drive. We tend to play from behind early, but then the second half there's just adjustments made and things happen. What I'm seeing though is just a little bit of a difference this year. Is the reason why we're starting slow is just because of the new pieces. Bill O'Brien seems to be willing to change the game plan and make the necessary adjustments and the decisions that need to be made for us to be able to move forward. So I don't know if I expect that this week. You're right, like with the speed that you guys have on the edge, it's going to be hard. But at the same time, Joey Bosa isn't a slouch, and Melvin Ingram isn't a slouch.
Oh,
And I know
absolutely.
there's a lot of hype around Brian Burns, and I get it. He's extremely good, and I do think that he is a cornerstone player for you guys. But he is a rookie, and the game is just going to be a little different. And I do think he's going to take some hits, and I wouldn't be surprised if Brian Burns has 2 sacks. But I still think that Deshaun's going to be able to operate, and I think that will actually get going early. The one thing that if I was you guys that would concern me is just the fact if you look at Romeo Crennel's record against rookie quarterbacks or quarterbacks getting your first or second or third start,
Hmm.
he destroys them. It's
Oh,
tons of
wow.
blitzes,
Interesting.
lots of confusion. He doesn't throw the same thing at him twice. He's very good against new quarterbacks, and so I expect Kyle to see a lot of things that he has not seen yet, and I think that the defense could be a big reason why we take this win.
Yeah. No, that's that's great. I mean, like I didn't even think about that. I wouldn't have thought about that in any circumstances. But so let me ask you this though: have you guys seen a guy like Christian McCaffrey?
Never in my life.
Yeah, when he gets going, I mean,
I hate that
it's
guy.
tough.
You know who I hope gets hit? I hope Christian McCaffrey gets hit. I hope
So,
Christian McCaffrey comes up in the hole in the middle of the hole,
be,
gets past the second layer, and then boom, Justin Reed just lays him out.
yeah, because I'm saying you guys, I mean, you guys, you could confuse him, but just that little safety valve in Christian McCaffrey is very dangerous, and he's proven it. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be ultimate chess match. I think Norv
The game
is
plan,
oh, go
the
ahead.
game plan for us is if we can slow down Christian, then I think we can win this game. If Christian is just gashing us from the beginning, I don't know if we'll be able to. He's just that great of a player. And it's in every facet of the offense. It's not just running the ball, it's catching the ball, it's pass
Yeah,
protection. He's a solid overall back. When you guys got him, it was one of the most exciting things because I feel like it's the best weapon that Cam's ever had.
yeah.
Um, and that's saying a lot because he had Steve Smith. But yeah, it's all going to come down to Christian McCaffrey for your offense. If we can cover him and we can stop him from getting those massive gains and slow him down, I think we have a chance. But if he gets going early, it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, well, the great thing about the Arizona game or last week was that the ball was spread around a lot. So Greg Olsen got involved, Curtis Samuel, DJ Moore, everybody got involved. And I think that's more dangerous than anything because if those guys get going, it kind of takes a little bit of heat off of McCaffrey and then it opens it up for him. So I think the key is shutting down everybody else and forcing the ball to McCaffrey so that you can shut him down.
I think here's the difference though. Like if you're shutting down McCaffrey and you're forcing them to go to other unknown commodities on the offense, I think you have a better chance just because they're so unknown.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I know Curtis Samuel's good. I get it.
I don't know, man. I think you want it. You want it. If you force everything to go through Christian McCaffrey, you can beat us. If you force it,
Yeah, when
I think it's
McCaffrey,
the opposite. I think it's the opposite, dude. So when you
Okay.
if you see the ball flying out to Greg Olsen and it's going out to Curtis Samuel and then DJ Moore, I think you're gonna have some problems because those guys, when those guys are getting off, it's gonna open it up for Christian because the attention's gonna go away from him. So I think
Okay.
if you
if
force it,
if
go ahead, Dave. My
if
fault.
Christian's the only guy that's actually getting catches and yards and stuff, y'all are gonna win.
Yeah, that's
But
how we've been beat. If the
that's how we
ball's force
lose,
fed to
dude. Like
McCaffrey, we
look
lose.
at the first game against the Rams. He had a phenomenal game, but nobody else showed up.
Yeah, but Cam was also hurt. Like it's a little different when you have a healthy quarterback too,
True.
right?
Very
Like
good point. Very good point.
Cam was not Cam. Cam hasn't been Cam for 3 years. Like
True.
right now you have a healthy quarterback that is fresh and can also run a little bit,
Yes, he
which
can.
I think is a part that people don't realize about Kyle Allen.
Oh, we realize it
Um,
because he's gonna need to
I'm sure
run
you
for his
guys
life.
do. I'm
He's
sure
gonna
you
need to
guys
run.
do,
He's
but
gonna need to run for his life on Sunday. I
I
don't want
don't
to see
know
him
if he'll
get hit
need to
by
run for his
JJ.
life. But either way, we'll see. We'll see. What I'm saying is because you guys have a better option at quarterback right now, and not that I'm saying that Kyle Allen is better than
No,
Cam
we
Newton.
get it. We
It
get it.
really just resorts back to health.
No, I get it.
And if
Yeah,
that's
the
the
echo
case,
is brutal.
I don't know. What?
We're echoing pretty bad.
I don't hear echo, Dave.
Okay, so it's just me.
Yeah, I don't hear an echo either.
Good. All right, if it's just me, I'm fine.
But yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting game. Like I said, I think this will be the game that both teams really have an understanding of who they are. Especially with you guys right now with that division, it's so wide open. You guys
Yeah.
have an opportunity to really start to take hold of it, and I wouldn't be surprised if you guys start to make some noise.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. We got you guys, the Jags, and then Tampa Bay again. I'm hoping we can get a couple of these. Listen, I have zero expectations for Kyle Allen. If he goes out there and balls, surprise me, I'll be elated. But if he lays an egg, I won't be surprised either. So I'm hoping he goes out there and balls. So Dave, you got any question? Any more questions from the people?
Let me see here.
If not, we'll get a prediction. I want a prediction from you, and then we can wrap this
Talked
thing
about
up.
Tunsil. We talked about one-on-one matchups. I don't need to get into why the GM got
Yeah,
fired.
we don't need to get
please
into all
don't.
that. We don't need to get into all that.
How do you feel about the current GM you have, though?
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm extremely happy with Bill O'Brien as the GM. We call him William O'Brien as the general manager, and he's Bill O'Brien as our coach.
That's funny. That's funny.
He, this team has been very stagnant. We've had a lot of turnover at the GM. I think a head coach can only be successful if he's given the players that fit his scheme and can do what he wants to do. And I think now that he's in control, he sees the players and is able to grab the ones that he wants and implement them into the offense and into the team. So I like what he's doing. I understand that he's aggressive. We're getting rid of picks. We're doing this and that. But at the end of the day, he also knows that what it takes to win and what we need to do. And it seems to be a priority. He's been aggressive. He's made cuts when he needs to make cuts. We cut Aaron Colvin after the Saints game because he didn't know how to play, off the receiver at the end of the game. So he's doing what he needs to do. I'm happy right now, but ask me that question at the end of the season, I guess.
Right. That's it.
And then another question we had was, do you got Super Bowl window for the Texans, right? Do you guys think you're still within it? Do you think you need a few more players? Do you think you have enough right now? Where do you think the Texans are when it comes to getting to the Super Bowl?
Well, in this league, if you have a quarterback, you always have a chance. And I'm not sure what the perception of Deshaun is, national media or other fan bases.
The Carolinas love him.
But I know what it is. What's that?
The Carolinas love Deshaun with the
Well, of
Clemson
course.
connection. Yeah, I'm just saying.
But I'm also surprised because, I guess I don't know the geography too well. But what about South Carolina, like the Gamecocks? Like, is that?
Oh, so he's
Clemson,
Dave is a Gamecock fan. Ask him about South Carolina.
Well, that's what I'm saying because he beat the Gamecocks on a torn ACL. So like, how do they feel about Deshaun in South Carolina?
Clemson. Well, it depends what portion of the state.
Deshaun, man.
It depends what portion of the state. If you go to the western portion of the state, they love him. But
Columbia might hate him a bit, but overall, he's South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, South Carolina loves him.
Yeah, so I mean, when you have Deshaun at quarterback, you have a chance every single week. And like I said, I know the national media is not really on him right now. They're all on Mahomes and Baker and whatever. That's fine. We don't really care about the national media. What I see on film and what I see that he's capable of doing, I think our Super Bowl window is the next 10 years. It just depends if we can protect him and give him the time that he needs to be able to develop and that we're helping him correct the issues that he has. He has a hard time recognizing blitzes and making pre-snap adjustments. But, it's also his third year. This is really only his first offseason where he's taken all the first-team reps in the offseason because of his injury. And also his rookie year, he had Tom Savage. So I think the sky's the limit.
Awesome. All right. So, Dave, I think that was it for the questions. So that being said, do you have a prediction for the game on Sunday? What's your prediction? And you can drop a score if you want to as well.
Yeah, I think the Texans will win this game. And it's not because I think Carolina's bad. I just think that we're starting to roll, and I think things are starting to really click with the offense and the team. So I expect us to win. I'm expecting us to really start this. I think the momentum started on Sunday, and I think it's going to continue down. So, yeah, I think we win.
All right, Dave. Dave, what about you? Prediction?
I think the Texans having slow starts is going to cost them this game.
Oh, Dave going out on the limb.
Huh?
Dave going out on the limb. I should have my soundboard with me.
I think Kyle Allen is he started pretty fast against the Cardinals, so I think we're going to be able to take advantage of that. And I think if you guys get too far behind, our defense is going to close up Deshaun.
Okay.
Well, I think it'll be.
I can see it going that way.
And we tend to play better on the road.
That's a fact. We are a road team, warriors.
Believe you me, if Kyle comes in and he starts strong, it's gonna be a long day for you guys, man.
Man,
Dave.
Gonna
be a long weekend for Cam. It's gonna be a long Sunday night for Cam.
I haven't heard Dave talk like this. He's super confident. Well, I'm not as confident. I said it before. I have zero expectation. Listen, Kyle Allen played the game of his life. I don't think he replicates that performance. However, he did go to University of Houston, so he has a little more homecoming love for him. He's from Arizona, beat them, went to University of Houston, little homecoming love. I don't think we get the W. I think, although I think we do play very well on the road. I don't know what it is about that. It's weird. But I think the Texans get the W. I think Kyle Allen gets a little confused, comes back down to earth a little bit. I think it'll be close though. I think it'll be close. I'm gonna go 27-24. Texans.
Okay.
Texans.
I'll take that one. I'm not taking Dave's.
Yeah, Dave is wild. Dave is known for a good bold prediction every now and then. So
yeah, no, I'm not. I
Well,
like
it's
Dave at
just-
first when we started, but
No, it's just a matter of I
don't
think,
talk yourself out of it, Dave. You might want
No,
to
no,
touch.
no, 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 I'm not.
Dave, I get
No,
it.
I'm in.
I get it.
Oh, I'm in. I
yeah,
think
see,
Bradbury's going to perform well against Hopkins, better than what you
Oh
give him
my
credit for.
God!
All right. Listen, man, I
Yo,
got him in
this is
fantasy in
funny.
a couple leagues, man. I want him to do well, but
Oh man, this dude said.
If Jalen Ramsey can't hold DeAndre, do you honestly? I like Bradbury, but he can't hold DeAndre. He's not even as physical as Jalen, and that's what disrupts DeAndre.
But the thing is, all right, so last week, on Sunday, DeAndre had 6 catches for 67 yards. If that happens, we'll probably win.
Man,
Okay,
DeAndre's
well,
going to
see,
have really.
Did you look and see what Kenny Stills did? Will Fuller,
Yeah.
Jordan Akins, like
Everybody
the
Yeah,
ball
else.
I
went
want to talk
around.
about Akins, man. Like, what's up with that kid? He's not a starter.
Yes, he's a starter.
Or he starts.
so you're saying we need to
He
pick
had a
him
pretty
up
good
on
day.
fantasy? That's what you're saying.
No, he's a
Yeah.
starter. Yes, he's our number one tight end. Darren Fells is only in when he's blocking. Jordan Akins is our receiving tight end.
All right, because he got 2 TDs that day, man.
And
I
so
think
did and Darren Fells got a TD.
Wow, it's all the tight end love.
All the
That's
tight end
right.
love, man.
All right.
So that's
Waiver
what I'm saying.
wire-
Just
waiver
very
wires
similar
tonight,
to
man. I
how
gotta put my stuff in.
very similar to how you guys were saying. When I was saying if we shut down Christian McCaffrey, we'll win.
Yeah.
You guys were like, no. If you guys shut down DeAndre, that just means that Will Fuller and Kenny Stills and Jordan Akins are catching deep balls all day.
I don't know, man. Dante runs a 4.3. I think he can hang with Stills or Fuller.
But see, what people don't realize about Fuller, and this is the part that nobody understands, Will Fuller is not just a 4.3 guy. He's also the best route running wide receiver we have on our team. So
Ooh,
pair
better
that.
than DeAndre?
Yes, he's a
Wow.
better route runner than DeAndre. He's
Shit.
not a better receiver, but he's a better route runner. Just watch his routes. They're as
Okay.
crisp as they get.
Damn.
So when you pair that with 4.3 speed, even if Deontay has it, if his hips turn at all,
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, that's Dante likes to bite. He'll get caught slipping.
Right.
He
So
does, man.
he'll get caught slipping, and that's what I'm saying. He's the ultimate gift and curse. He might get one, but he gonna give one up too. So that's just how it is. But that being said, why don't you go ahead and outro yourself? I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Let the people know where they can find you, and we'll get on up out of here.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. It's hard for me to talk bad about the Panthers because I actually really enjoy watching you guys play. You guys can follow me on Twitter at YoungAriGold. You can follow me on Instagram too. You can follow my podcast, Texans Unfiltered, at Houston FB Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And yeah, I appreciate it again, guys, and hopefully we'll be able to talk soon.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your time. I know you're traveling and all that. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to join us.
Hey, no problem, guys. You guys have a great day. Let me know when we can come on and talk about Baker Mayfield at camp.
I don't want to talk. I don't want to have that conversation. But yeah, maybe
We
one
can add
day.
Luck and Eli to it too, bro.
Maybe on
That's
the
fine.
bye week.
Add them all.
Maybe on the bye week we'll talk about it. Week
Okay, I'm
week
ready.
7 we'll talk about it.
All right. I
All right,
appreciate
man.
you guys.
Have a
Guys,
good one,
night.
bro.
Have a good one, man.